Hi Sugar Snaps. Basket weaving, natural dyeing, paper making, and even sewing have a tendency to dry out your hands. Whether that's from working with the materials or the amount of water you work with those crafts, whatever it is, I have a solution to that problem, which is homemade hand salve. And I have a recipe here today using natural ingredients, several natural oils and beeswax, as well as essential oil to create your own hand salve. Now I'm using 3 different essential oils for my salve, and you can find the recipe for this hand salve in the description below. I'm using lavender, carrot seed, and geranium oils, and I chose these because of their restorative, soothing, and hydrating properties. And you can also find links to resources on different essential oils and their healing properties. I'm not a medical person, so I don't know the details, I don't know the research, but just doing some research online, these are suggested as hydrating and soothing for skincare. So those are the oils that I chose for my recipe. If you enjoy making things, give this video a like because it'll help it spread to other fiber artists. Now I'll be using castor oil, apricot kernel oil, sweet almond oil, the essential oils, beeswax pellets, which I have a little baggie here. They're little pieces of beeswax, and shea butter for my hand salve. And I have a double boiler set up here. Now I'm using a hot plate. You can use a stove or other heat source. I have my pot here with some water in it and a glass measuring cup sitting inside. This is to create a double boiler effect, so the water heats the jar and I can pour the beeswax and all the oils in here and stir it up so that they melt without getting them wet. So you want to bring the water to a simmer, not to a full boil, just so that it's hot but doesn't splash water into your oils and your beeswax, because that would cause some problems with the recipe. Check the description below for the full recipe. I will just go over it quickly as I pour these into my double boiler. So I'm going to put in 1 ounce of the shea butter, 1/2 ounce of beeswax pellets, 1 tablespoon of the castor oil, and I'm just eyeballing it, you can measure it out. 1/4 cup of the apricot kernel oil, and 1/4 cup of the sweet almond oil. And we'll leave the essential oils out for now until we pull the melted mixture off the heat, and then we'll add them as the last step. So once everything's in your double boiler, give it a stir. I have a little stir stick here that I'll just stir this mixture as it begins to melt, as it heats up. And this can take about 5 minutes for the beeswax to completely melt. So just patiently keep it on a low simmer and let it sit in there until the beeswax is totally melted and it looks completely liquid. If you're interested in getting more fiber and textile arts resources, tutorials, and inspiration, sign up for my email update. You can find the link to that in the description below. I send out a twice a month email with resources for each of the categories that I cover on my website and this channel. And I would love to have you join my Textile Indie community. Once the beeswax pellets have completely melted and your shea butter and all the oils have combined, it will look like a liquid. And you can gently lift it out of the double boiler. This isn't very hot, so I can lift it out with my hands, but just be careful what you're using may be hot as you lift it out, so be aware of that. And you can go ahead and turn off your double boiler now. So now I'm going to add the essential oils into my mixture, and I'm going to do 8 drops of the geranium and the lavender and 4 drops of the carrot seed. And by drops, that's just tipping the bottle over and counting how many drops come out of it. Sometimes they can come out pretty fast, so just be aware of that. And I lost count, so we'll call that 8. And one more, okay. And then the carrot seed, just 4 of these. Good, okay. Now add these in by stirring with your stir stick. And your mixture will stay liquid for quite a while, but don't leave it for like a half an hour before you add the essential oils and stir them in, because it will start to harden, and that makes it difficult to transfer to your container and add the essential oils. So you do want to take it off the heat and tend to it right away. And then once you get it into your container, you can set it aside and let it harden. So I have a little pint jar here that I'm going to pour this in. Again, this can be, the jar that you have your mixture in can be hot. So just be careful when you're lifting this. And I'm going to pour this mixture into my jar. Try to get as much in as possible. And then you can set this aside to allow it to harden. As it cools, it will harden. You can put the lid on if you want, or leave it uncovered until it solidifies. And be careful, because this has a tendency to solidify on the top. It'll look like it's solid, but be molten in the middle. And one time I made the hand salve and it looked like it was solid, and I grabbed it and I turned really quickly and it splashed out. It broke the crust on the top and splashed out, and I ended up with mixture all down my front. And luckily it was at a consistency where I was able to just chip it off my clothing. If it's too liquid, it will enter the fibers of your clothing and you won't be able to get it out because it's oils and wax. So just be careful when you are working with these liquid oils. They do splash and they can mess up your clothing. So allow this to solidify before you use it. And once that happens, you'll want to store it in a cool, dry place and apply it whenever you need to. I would apply about a pea-size amount to your hand and start with the back of your hands and rub it into the back of your hands and then into your palms. It is really soothing and very nice, especially after weaving a basket where you're working with the water and the dry reed. I end up with really dry cuticles and my hands are just always parched. So this is very pleasant after weaving a basket or doing any other fiber arts, really. Thanks for watching how to make your own hand salve. I hope you enjoy this process and get a chance to make your own. If you use different essential oils, please leave a comment below and let me know what you used and why you chose those. I'd love to hear about your experience. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.